The healthy relationship between a child and the parent is that the child keeps the parent on a pedestal. You are never pals. You are never equals. Even when the parent gets off the pedestal, you have to put them back on it. Well, the Torah demands that we honor our parents. It doesn't say love them. It says love your neighbor, love a stranger. But it doesn't say love your parents. We find these instructions recorded twice in the 10 statements, what we call the 10 commandments. They first appear in Exodus 20:12. Honor your father and your mother. And is repeated in Deuteronomy 5:16. Honor your father and your mother. By telling us to honor our parents and not say love them, we are being told to honor them even when we don't love them, or honor them in addition to loving them. If you don't love them, that's not a reason not to honor them. Whether you admire them or not, whether they leave you unimpressed or do things that you are hurt by or angry about, you still have to honor them. They're entitled to make mistakes, to fail in other areas, and they're still on the pedestal. Why? Because you cannot ever repay the debt, even if they do nothing more for you. Exodus 20:12 says, honor your father and your mother. But Leviticus 19:3 says, every man shall fear his mother and his father, meaning that we should stand in awe, we should respect. When you compare the two verses, there is an inconsistency in style. With the command to honor our parents, the father is mentioned first. But the command to fear our parents, the mother is mentioned first. Why this inconsistency of style? Our area of challenge is mentioned first. People tend to honor their mothers more than their fathers, so God puts the father first when it comes to honor. People also tend to fear, that is, they stand in awe, they respect their mothers less, so she's put first when it comes to respect. So the area that requires growth and work is mentioned first. Honor your father as well, just as you honor your mother. Respect your mothers as well, just as you respect your fathers. There are 613 instructions in the Torah, and the fundamental concept is that the 10 commandments are the root categories of all the 613 commandments. Out of the 10, you get the entire 613. The reason they are engraved on 2 tablets of stone is because the first 5 statements concern the relationship of human beings with God, while the second 5 concern the relationship of human beings with their fellow human beings. That is, the first 5 connects and bind you to God. The last 5 connects and binds you to your fellow. I'm going to recite the first 5 and see if you notice there is one commandment that's out of place. I am the Lord your God who took you out of the land of Egypt. You shall have no other gods in my presence. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to sanctify it. Honor your father and your mother. If you notice, the 5th commandment does not really fit with the first 4 commandments, since it deals with interhuman relationships of parents and children, and not relationships between man and God. That is what it seems, but that's not accurate. This command actually concerns the relationship of human beings with God. This goes to show you that when you disrespect your parents or dishonor them, you are actually breaking a command between you and God. It's not a command between you and your fellow, which in this case, your parents. You are breaking a commandment between your creators. Very serious offense. Yes, creators. There are three partners involved in creating a human: God, your mother, and your father. This is the debt that you can never pay back, because without them, you will not be here. That is why when you dishonor them, you dishonor all the partners responsible for your existence, which is God, your father, and your mother. Yes, we must be always grateful and recognize the things and goodness that was done to us, even though there may be certain things that can get in the way of the gratefulness, like a person's humanity, which could outweigh the goodness done to you. At best, lessening the gratitude that you feel towards that parent. But the good someone does for you is not cancelled out by their subsequent actions. I'll give you a classic example. The Hebrews are marching through the desert, and the king of Moab and Midian get very, very nervous because they realize they cannot fight the Hebrews. They tried to hire a sorcerer to curse the Hebrews, but it did not work. So Balaam suggested that he knows something that gets the God of Israel very, very angry: idolatry and sexual immorality. So they sent their daughters into the camp of the Hebrews, and the Hebrews profaned themselves by whoring with the Moabite women and worshipped their idols. Over 2,400 people lost their lives because of this act. God tells Moses, we have to set the record straight with the Midianites. Gather an army and we're going to go wage war against them. The plain text charges Moses personally with having to wreak this vengeance. However, seeing that he had been raised in Midian for 40 years or more and had been saved from Pharaoh's vengeance during all his years there, it would not have been moral for him to do this himself. So Moses sent delegates. Moses did not want to throw a stone into the well from which he drank. We should do same. Don't throw a stone into the well in which you drank from, even if the well gets you very angry. Moses here showed gratitude to a good that was done to him, and all the subsequent negative factors did not mitigate his gratitude towards the Midianites. We learn from here an important general principle. The negative experiences that one may have from their parents should in no way reduce the respect that we have for them. Yes, there are certain awful things that could be done that the emotional distance is so great and the person cannot show gratitude. We can touch upon these later. It is a fascinating reward. The importance of this command is underscored by longevity. Rarely does the Torah discuss rewards or the nature of the reward or the scope of the reward we merit when we perform a commandment. But in this case, it definitely points that out. The reward for this commandment is not limited to personal longevity, but communal longevity. One of the longest empires that existed was the Roman Empire. What did they merit to be able to be in existence for so long, with such a powerful and glorious history? The ancestor of Rome is Esau. Esau is the progenitor of Rome. Esau, though he gets a very bad rep, had one redeeming quality. He showed his father Isaac tremendous respect. Whenever he caught an animal, he would cook it up really well and he would share it with his father. He made it a point to show honor and respect to his father. In reward for that, not only was there a personal longevity, there was longevity in his progeny as well. So this is a very fundamental and a very important commandment. You see, some chase after pastors all day. They delight in carrying the pastor's Bible and serving them. Yet they do not do the same for their parents. We remove our parents from these sacred pedestals and place these men of God on them. But you have not been taught that in your parents' hands are blessings that no pastor, no bishop, no prophet can give you, including our so-called spiritual fathers and mothers. They cannot and do not replace your parents. Yes, they have their place, but not on those sacred pedestals that the parents sit on. Remember what Isaac told Esau, Genesis 27. It came to pass, when Isaac was old and his eyes were too dim to see, that he called Esau his eldest son, and he said to him, My son. And he said, Here I am. And he said, Behold, now I have grown old. I do not know the day of my death. So now sharpen your implements, your sword, and take your bow, and go forth to the field and hunt game for me, and make for me tasty foods as I like, and bring them to me, and I'll eat, in order that my soul will bless you before I die. One can bless you with their mouth, but that parental blessing that comes from the soul is to die for. That is why when Esau found out that Yaakov took his blessing, he cried out a great and bitter cry. He asked his father, Bless me too. Oh, my father, bless me. He said, Have you not reserved a blessing for me? His father said, No. He says, Have you but one blessing, my father? Bless me too, my father. And Esau raised his voice and wept. Yes, his father gave him a blessing, but it was not from the soul. It was the regular blessing that you could get from the street, blessings from the mouth. And this is the quality of blessing that is released on the child who honors and respects his or her parent. When they turn the heart of their parents, bringing them to a place of joy, and that blessing is released. Priceless.